Some will call this the ugliest Thursday night football game of the year, but I say we have to find the beauty in the ugly because there's money to be won tonight in the game of Patriots versus Steelers. 30 implied points. This one, 12 implied points for the Patriots, 18 implied for the Steelers. It looks ugly on paper. We saw on Monday night, sometimes we can find a fun game here where it seems like the odds of having a fun game are extremely low. We're going to figure that out today. And of course, we're going to build lineups three ways as we always do. I'm going to hand build a lineup using the advanced analytics that I swear by from Sports Info Solutions, Pro Football Reference, and a few more others bundled in. Then we'll look at projections and ownership projections and optimize lineups to find where the math is going to push people towards. And then last but not least, we will simulate lineups to find out who are the must plays of Thursday night football. Snowy day here in Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure that might mean some little bit of flurries coming up in Pittsburgh as well, though. I'm outside the Philly area. We're about 4 hours away from Pittsburgh, so I don't know what the weather is there right now, but it does seem like no matter what it is implied in the Vegas total, of course, so you never need to worry about weather, as I would always advocate for here. Big news for the slate, though. No Ramondre Stevenson, no Demario Douglas. We are going to have also no Kenny Pickett. So Mitch Trubisky picks up the start. He's on the thumbnails. He a stud on the slate. He is certainly priced like one. 13.8 at captain. I believe 90, was it 9,500? 9,100, 9,200. There we go. That's how math works. 9,200 at the flex position for Mitch Trubisky. Does seem like a viable play to go to today if we are going off the analytics. 0.02 EPA per dropback allowed by the Patriots. Of course, the expected points added metric. That tells us how much above average a team is either giving it up on defense or producing above average on offense. So 0.02 EPA per dropback. 0.02 EPA per pass is this Patriots defense. Also giving up a 74% completion rate on throws of under 20 air yards and also a 6.5% rate on throws of over 20 air yards. And Mitch Trubisky has not dropped back a lot this year. Only it looks like, let's see, 18 dropbacks per game. And that includes, I think, a couple games where Pickett's gone out and then come back in. 9.5 air yards per attempt. So Mitch has tried to get it downfield, and the Patriots downfield, giving it up at a little bit higher of a rate, also getting a 0.44 EPA. What does this lead me to push towards? I kind of think this is a George Pickens spot. Obviously, I'm in the bag for big George Pickens. I have been for a while, but George Pickens in this situation where Trubisky wants to get the ball downfield. I think he might be able to do it against this Patriots defense. And Pickens, again, going against a Patriots defense on the year, 49.5% rate allowed out wide. Is that right? No, 39.5%. Sorry, guys. I'm a little bit foggy here in the morning. 39.5% allowed out wide, though, which is still one of the top marks in the league. So the Patriots D is forcing targets outside. Pickens is mostly running outside, getting 55 targets outside compared to 31 for Deontay Johnson. Johnson's a little bit more of a slot guy. I think Pickens is going to be my captain. I don't know that it should be. Mitch might run just enough to make him the captain. And Trubisky is cheaper. I guess it just comes down to if I'm going to use another pass catcher in this lineup. I don't think I should, given the low implied total. So let's go Pickens. Pickens a 2-touchdown day. Oh boy. All right. I don't want to combine my best ball rooting interests with my DFS rooting interests, but we will do it today for George Pickens here. Shout out to the chat, by the way. Congrats, Spags, on 3K. Woohoo. Yes, we are always on the march here. Finally past the 3K. Now we look forward towards 4K, but of course, thank you guys for being along for the ride here. And I gave my little sentimental speech at the end of the last video, but also apologies for not showing up yesterday. I just think Spags rankings at this point of the year, it's not the most useful piece of content, especially the amount of work that I have to do to prepare the graphics and all that. And I just also was behind on a lot of shit yesterday. So I will figure out what to do next Wednesday. Might actually be time to do some playoff best ball drafts. So maybe I'll start doing one on Wednesdays moving forward. But that's what I'm tentatively thinking for right now. But of course, I hate not showing up a day here, but I just needed a day to kind of breathe a little bit and rethink things. But again, we got the chat here. Sup, hi. And then, of course, Sammy here squirting away. Appreciate all you guys being here with me. And yes, sign up for Probably as well. You can see the graphic over there. And of course, if you use the promo code SPLASH, save yourself 50%. Another profitable day in the betting video I did here on YouTube on the Probably app YouTube channel. So I think things are looking good there in terms of the data. We just need more people to sign up, to be real with you guys. So please join along at probably.com and save yourself 50% with promo code SPLASH. That means you're basically paying $9.99 for your first month. So the deal's about as good as it can get. Back to the showdown now that I've hoarded and rambled for a little bit. Ezekiel Elliott, obviously going to consolidate some touches here with Ramondre Stevenson out. I actually didn't remove Ramondre from my sheet yet because I wanted to reflect how much of a role he's had in this offense. 17.3 intended touches per game, 43% intended touch rate. So when he's on the field for the 40.5 snaps he is, they're trying to give him the ball pretty much every time, or half the time that he's on the field. But a lot for a running back at 43%. Zeke, though, has been getting at 48% of the time he's on the field. So you combine those two together, we could see Kevin Harris go today. That's what I was at least hearing about, I believe, from there's a stochastic guys, Laffy and Makajeski talking about this morning, where if you see Kevin Harris go, that probably means that Ty Montgomery is not going to be the pure backup. If you see Ty Montgomery active, but Kevin Harris is not, Ty Montgomery also plays special teams. So the assumption that those guys had, which I think checks out from what I know as well, but obviously, I'm going to default to them, giving them the credit. Does seem like it should be Zeke and Ty Montgomery as the running backs, and Ty Montgomery is just not involved enough at all in the year to say that Zeke should be ceding actual opportunity to him, and especially because Zeke is actually getting targets, getting targeted at a 27% target per out run rate, and actually been looking pretty good when he's getting targeted as well. 37.5% avoided tackle rate for Zeke when he's getting a target. Obviously, he's only getting 2 catches per game, but that's not bad juice for Zeke. So point being, I do think Zeke is a strong play here, just consolidating that role. So he's going to be at least one Patriot you put in this lineup. And I think you can make the case for 2. And I do think a lot of people around the industry are going to push towards Devontae Parker. I believe he had a 38% target share. He had really aggressive numbers in that first start for Bailey Zappi last week. Parker's questionable right now. I do assume he's going to go today, especially with the amount of guys that are out. But Parker, I think, is going to be the guy that people should push towards, even though he's the most expensive. The guy that I'm a little bit more intrigued by, and this might bite me in the ass, and to be clear, this is for this single entry I'm building right now by hand. I think Juju's an interesting play, and Juju also questionable, but was limited in practice as well. Juju going in a slot matchup here, where he's the guy that plays slot snaps, especially when Demario Douglas isn't in. Going against a defense here with Pittsburgh, gives up 55% slot targets. We talk about that a lot on the show, where high blitz rate teams open up spots where the blitzer's coming from, and then smart teams know to take advantage of that. So for the most part, teams are targeting the slot against the Pittsburgh Steelers because they blitz at a 37% rate, which is one of the highest in the league, and they only get pressure 23% of the time. So they're sending guys a lot, leaving open space, but not getting to the QB. And Bailey Zappi, for what it's worth, also getting pressured at a really low amount as well, 27%. Would be one of the lower pressure marks in the league. So I think this is a good spot for Juju to rack up some PPR targets. Obviously, I get not believing in Juju, but the snaps are there for him. I believe he played 55 last week. It was him, Devontae Parker, and also and then Tyquan Thornton, who were the guys in snaps, highest in snaps by a wide margin. I think Tyquan had 51. I'll confirm this because I don't want to talk completely out of my ass. Tyquan had 51 last week. Devontae had 55. And Juju had 59 snaps. So Juju led in snaps. Now he's getting a matchup where he's the best situation as well. I think Juju's a good play tonight. I certainly don't love it, but I think this is a spot where I'm definitely willing to go to Juju here. And obviously it's a 150 set kind of thing as well. I'm building a single entry for this one, but I'm playing, the usual 220 lineups I put in across the 20 maxes, the mini max, and then putting a few, or putting like 20 or so in the big tournament. And then we are also, by the way, for the record, we're still going out to dinner for my wife's birthday, but she's kind enough that we're going to be back in time for me to do lineups for Steelers Patriots. So if you want to ever know what true love is, I think sacrificing going to an earlier dinner so your partner can play lineups in this dog shit game. That's what's the sacrifice we have in our relationship is. So yeah, for Juju, I think it's a good matchup for him. Steven asking about how's the Pittsburgh defense versus running back targets. So it's a tough matchup against running back targets. And again, I would think that might be the blitzing as well, where you're coming in to a blitz and then obviously, getting people in the backfield can make it tough to get the ball out and get the ball to the running back and have them have success. But a 14% target rates running back, which is pretty low. A negative 0.35 EPA per running back target, which is pretty low. By comparison, they're giving up a 55% target rate to the slot, 0.17 EPA to the slot. It's negative everywhere else. So I think you really do want to attack through the slot. Obviously, your comfort level out there with Juju might not be the highest, but it doesn't make Ezekiel Elliott a bad play to me. I just don't think he's going to be breaking off chunk plays or anything. But he's going to get probably a few targets, and anything he adds PPR wise, I think should be good. I would say if you're not going to play Ezekiel Elliott, though, I'd probably want to play the kicker, I would guess. Yes, I guess that would be Ryland. Ryland, though, can they even get the ball into range would be the question. Yeah, point being, I think if you're not playing Zeke, Ryland would get a little bit more appealing, but it's a tough one. We'll see what the projections give us in a moment. But I think, the 12-point total does kind of scream out 4 field goals. I think that's something that does kind of have a seed in the back of my brain, but we'll see. Maybe Ryland makes this lineup for us still. Who else can we get to here? Obviously, I think it feels like you have to take one of Najee or Jalen Warren. Reports this morning from Tom Pelissero that Najee Harris is going to go today despite the Q tag. Obviously, Najee does not want to lose any games because he's going to basically lose his role going against Jalen Warren if he doesn't play a game and Jalen Warren shows out. It's given that it's Pittsburgh. They're so stubborn. It might not be the end of Najee. But for a traditional team who's smart, I guess they would already be playing Jalen Warren more anyway. So that's how that goes. And Najee health equals Warren season. I mean, look, if Najee goes out, obviously Warren is going to gain on that. And I think, the point was made again by the Stochastic guys. I just watched that stream right before this show. They were talking about basically that, for Najee, it's one of those things where, he's getting this really nice role week after week, but everybody does keep assuming that Warren's going to get more of a role. And it's like, it's not a logical coaching thing right now because the Steelers aren't doing that. They haven't given Warren more of a role. It's just been the same 50-50 share. So I think both guys are valid in this game though. And certainly it just takes, the Patriots giving up a play that gets to the red zone. And then all of a sudden, Warren is there, or Najee more likely is there because of getting the goal line work has been a little higher for him on the year. 1.7 red zone touches per game for Najee compared to 1.1 for Jaylen Warren. That is a pretty big difference there, even though we love Warren more, obviously a lot more on this show. And of course, everybody out there, it was cool in fantasy. They love Jaylen Warren more. What else can we get to here? Again, I think Pickens, we're going to stick with that. Defense is certainly in play. Bailey Zappi, though, not taking a lot of sacks. The pick rate for him on the year is just 2.7%, so basically league average as well. So I don't think we want to necessarily target Bailey Zappi, but he's an okay play. I kind of just think the Patriots aren't going to score touchdowns. So I do want to go back to the Ryland play. I also feel like we might get pushed more towards 5-1 Patriots builds, or 5-1 Steelers builds, rather 4-2 Steelers builds relative to the total. So we'll see what we get in the optimizer here. But I'm going to put Ryland in. We have AK left. Who's going to be the last guy in? Ooh, Jaylen Warren's AK flat, but that's probably going to be pretty chalky. Steelers D. Maybe one defensive touchdown. I think that works. I don't love this team, but this is what we're going to go with here for the hand build. George Pickens, Mitch Trubisky, Ezekiel Elliott, Juju Smith-Schuster, or Chad Ryland, Steelers D. That is going to be the team that we put in here. Thank you, Effect MD. I'm not going to eschew this compliment here. Spags, you have beautiful physique. I don't think so, but I appreciate that. Is Steelers defense at 6,600 the highest price showdown defense of the year? I believe so. Yeah, I feel like the highest we've seen was like high fives for the Cowboys in one of the games that they had. But at least as far as I'm aware of, I do believe that is the highest of the year. And I guess we are playing directly into that. So honestly, might not want to play Steelers D, but it's a hand build and we got to get to the real data here. So let's focus on that. Anything else here? Ryland is about the worst kicker in the league. Okay, well, glad I have the chalk Steelers D who's too expensive and Chad Ryland, the worst kicker in the league in my lineups. How much Washington will you have getting half the snaps? Washington for me. Wait, who are we talking about with Washington? I'm confused as to Washington without the context here. Let me go through here. New England. Sometimes you guys just throw me a curveball here, the name that I've just not talked about at all, and I don't know where it's coming from. Darnell Washington is who we're talking about here. I love Darnell as a player, but he's not getting enough work. I guess he's getting more snaps. He did get 34 snaps last week. I think he's like a cheap dart throw kind of play. But man, that's how far Darnell Washington is from my brain. Like he just had his opportunity. Like Freiermuth was out. He was on IR, and we didn't get Washington at all. Like Connor Hayward passed him for the most part. Darnell is doing okay in a small sample size, but he's not getting targets at all. A 7% target per out run rate for Darnell. So the snaps are there. Like he didn't get a touchdown, I guess would be what you're hoping for from him. But he's so out of the picture for them, I think. And I also just I thought, again, Freiermuth being out, that was his shot to get a role. He doesn't have the role now, but I'm surprised to see his snap share be that high at 34. Freiermuth last week played 36. Darnell played 34. So it kind of means that the slot role is just kind of dead, I guess, because Allen Robinson played 33. So I guess they're mixing up 12 personnel with 11 personnel with Robinson in the slot. I don't know. I don't think Washington's a great play, but he got more snaps, I think, than you would get credit for. So I guess good call out there, but definitely not a player that was top of mind for me, which inherently is probably going to make him a better play. Look, thank you, Kyle. Spags, you are beautiful. Tell your favorite showdown host that they're beautiful today. So I feel like I'm being pranked by you guys, but thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I'm a sleepy boy, and we got to go out for dinner tonight. It's wife's birthday, so we're crushing it in all cylinders. But hey, Steelers, Patriots, let's talk about it. Ezekiel Elliott, top projected player, 14.1. So he's going to be in every lineup at a $9,400 salary, I would think. Mitch Trubisky, number 2 projected. This is crazy, by the way, to have a game where no player is projected for over 15 points. You do not see that very often. So we are seeing one of the highest dollar defenses we have seen all year. We're seeing projections that are some of the worst we've seen all year. So wild situation in this game. And again, it's probably the same thing. If you treat these teams with just like the average level of respect, which I mentioned for the Bengals, where if you treat the Bengals like they're just an average team that can get average results, you're going to get probably the best showdown results you can. Kind of feels like that's what this slate is. Or if you just play this like, hey, these teams actually might score some amount of points, you're going to get there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when we look at the data, because this is crazy. Steelers D, 10.7. Jalen Warren, 11.5 is number 3 overall. Najee Harris, 10 flat overall. So, I mean, I guess that's the projection. This is not the most exciting series of projections. Certainly going to get some Jalen Warren and Najee Harris lineups together. You're going to get a lot of Zeke, but we will find out in a moment when we run the optimizer. Thank you, guys. Spags is a beaut. And then here we go. Now I know why it's splash play. Guns for days. Okay. Thank you. Thank you guys for this bit. Very happy to have it in my life today. Top values on the slate. Connor Hayward, number 1 overall. Top value at a $200 salary. And Connor Hayward seems like he's getting squeezed a little bit by the sudden surge of snaps for Darnell Washington. Let me look at Hayward's snaps, because they might be down, I would assume, based on that. Hayward was down to 19 last week. So Hayward, probably a play that comes up a little bit in optimizer, but not actually a good play. That much is for sure. Oh, fuck. We're making Go Birds squirt. Love to hear it here. Fucking love you. Thank you, Sammy. I appreciate that. Sammy's a romantic amongst all of you as you're objectifying me here on stream. JaMychal Hasty, number 2. Another value play at $200. Could get some more work. He's not been a favorite of the Patriots so far, not getting a lot of work in his transition to the team. Does seem like Ty Montgomery and maybe Kevin Harris could be ahead of him in the pecking order. But Hasty, I don't think, was Hasty active last week? Let me see. Looking up Hasty snaps real fast. 0 snaps last week. I don't know. Obviously, watching the inactives list for this one's going to be important. Whoever is active, obviously, they're going to get a projection. They're going to be more important. So if Hasty's active, that projection is valid. If Kevin Harris is active, he probably gets that projection. Ty Montgomery would get more of a projection if neither of those guys are active. So just something you have to watch later today. Darnell Washington, Miles Boykin, Juju Smith-Schuster is the top 5. So there are your guys there. Let's keep it going. Thank you, Go Birds. And look what you started, Effect MD. Look what you did with your perhaps sarcastic comment. I don't know, but either way, fun Thursdays here. You got to liven up, I guess, the Patriots-Steelers game somehow. We are doing it with pure raw dog sex appeal. Ownership here. Number 1 overall, Ezekiel Elliott, 65%, 17% at captain. That is a lot of Ezekiel Elliott in a game where they are in an underdog game script for sure, but that is how it is looking. Jalen Warren, number 2, 52%, 12% at captain. Mitch Trubisky, number 3, 52%, 9% at captain. Steelers D, 47%, 12% at captain. And Najee Harris, 41% and 9% at captain. So nobody crazily owned. It does seem like Zeke can catch a lot of steam. It does seem like Mitch Trubisky can catch a lot of steam. Lots of ways here that this can go later today. And obviously the ownership projections for showdowns, sometimes it does miss those guys being outlier plays. As we've seen it time and time again, Isaiah Pacheco ends up a much chalkier captain. A lot of projections out there had for him. So just be mindful of that. Again, as I always say here, watch this show, watch Stochastic, watch ETR, watch Run Pure if you have time. We'll start to get a picture then of how everybody's talking about all these players and how the ownership will move. And I think that's something for showdowns. It's even more important than for the main slate. So just keep an eye on that if you can, if you have the time, obviously, to dig into that. Is Zappy going to have a Jake Browning game tonight? Man, I don't know that that's most likely. He looks even worse than Browning did on paper, 50% completion rate. But I do think that playing Zappy, having a serviceable game, especially at a 9K price tag where Stochastic is giving him a 9.6 projection. That's like one of the worst QB projections I think I've seen this entire year, and actually might not even be close for a showdown. If you treat him like he's a quarterback that could actually get some results, like you're probably going to do well if he does get results. That said, obviously, it is a 12-point total. Zappy's looked awful. He's got a 50% catchable ball rate on the year. There's nothing that he's shown that is actively good. So that's where for showdowns, like I talk about, like Bailey Zappi, unequivocally not a good play by like what a good play constitutes. But for a showdown, it doesn't matter. And if you play Bailey Zappi and he gets there with like a double stack, that's obviously going to be a very low probability outcome that people aren't playing. So it's worth it to play it, I think, on a slate. And that's the part that you have to get used to with showdowns. Under 10% ownership. Let's see. You got Allen Robinson under 10, JaMychal Hasty under 10, Connor Hayward, Mike Gesicki, Farrell Brown, Rager, Darnell Washington, Miles Boykin. A lot of snaps for Darnell. So I guess that 1% ownership might be a smart play by I Am the KY, who serviced that earlier. Again, Darnell not getting a lot of targets, but being out there that much and being 1% owned is like, that's kind of worth it. You don't even need the Parker Washington kind of situation where Christian Kirk goes out, Parker Washington absorbs all the snaps. Darnell's already out there getting the snaps. He just has to actually get a few targets, which, not the highest probability again, but that's what showdowns are for. Want to look up Gesicki snaps really fast because it feels like Hunter Henry is just like a non-factor at this point. But Gesicki only played 6 snaps last week. Hunter Henry played 47, so it's not even close there. So you should be playing Hunter Henry over Gesicki for the most part, even though Gesicki, I guess, could get a few more snaps out of the slot, and that would be a beneficial spot like we talked about for Juju. But, it's still pretty tough. Okay. Let's keep it going here. Any chance Matt gets thrown back in or Cunningham work? I don't think the Cunningham part, they've only, at least unless our guy Steven Leibovitz, according to the chat, who's one of the biggest Patriots fans you'll find on social media that also is in the fantasy sports community. If he's telling me that they're using Cunningham at QB in practice, maybe I'm more curious, but they haven't done that as far as I know. It's been only using him as a skill position guy, and maybe he can do something as a skill position guy, but I think he probably picks up a little more ownership because people are curious about him as a player than he probably should, because he shouldn't have a projection on him, I don't think. Let me see if Stochastic gives him one. Yeah, they don't even have a projection for Malik Cunningham, it looks like. So I would say that Malik Cunningham is not a guy to consider unless there's a pregame report saying that he might work in, might get some snaps as a QB / a Taysom Hill kind of role. If you hear that, then I would change the equation, and I'm sure that he'll get a projection from Stochastic and ETR, but if he doesn't have one right now, I just wouldn't play him. I think playing Showdown tonight is for the madmen only, totally out today. Yeah, look, probably. I think that's the thing, though, is a slate like this one, because people don't want to play it as much, because they are going to play into a very ugly build. It is where there's some opportunity where you could end up with a fun game, and also by you taking a contrarian build that says it could be a fun game, you're kind of getting it on both ends. So I always advocate for the Showdown slates. I'm glad that my wife was willing to move the dinner tonight to make that a thing that I can still play the slate tonight. So yeah, exactly. Someone has to win. Someone has to win both in the game itself and in DFS. That's how that goes. All right, top projected lineup: Mitch Trubisky, Ezekiel Elliott, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Steelers, Juju. So we are already in the optimal lineup based on the just pure projection data, which, as we always talk about here, is not going to tell you where the field's going to go, but it is going to tell you what the math is going to push the field towards a little bit more, just based on a projection level. And stochastic projections get used by a larger portion of the field than most, as well as getting integrated in other projections, and the fact that most projection systems are pretty close in line anyway, or close enough, minus a few points here and there. So that's what we see with the projection data here. Overall trends, though: 84% Mitch Trubisky, 16% Mitch Trubisky in captain. So Mitch Trubisky is in every lineup. Ezekiel Elliott, 36% in captain. 64% in the flex. Ezekiel Elliott in every lineup. What does that mean, guys? I hate to do it. I feel like I'm doing the things like Miss Rachel does when Luke is watching those. What does that mean, guys? It means that you basically, if you fade one of those two players, you're going to get a more unique lineup. Obviously, on Monday, we did see Trevor Lawrence and Ingram make it, though Lawrence was on the cusp there for a while. So I still think that fading one of those guys was probably still the correct play. Point being, though, whenever you see that the math is pushing people towards having every lineup of these two guys, whoever that may have been any slate, the way you get different, if you want to, is going to be to try to eliminate one of those guys, try to eliminate two of those guys from lineups. So that's how you jump away from a lot of the field. Of course, if you are going to play Trubisky and Ezekiel Elliott together, try to make sure that lineup is inherently unique. Leave more salary on the table. Try to put in a low-owned player like a Darnell Washington kind of guy, or anybody, but anybody under 10%. Try to do something unexpected, like if you're playing Trubisky at captain, play the Patriots D in the flex to go along with that, because people don't usually want to play the QB with the defense in the flex. That's what you should be trying to do if you are playing Trubisky and Ezekiel Elliott, because they're just going to come in too easily. And then you add in the game theory of it, Trubisky filling in for Kenny Pickett. People want to see what he has. They know he's been honestly better than Kenny Pickett at times in his Steelers career. And then for Ezekiel Elliott, they know they're consolidating the role of Ramondre Stevenson. So I think there's no way to avoid the fact that these two guys will be two of the chalkiest players in the slate, whether it be a captain, whether it be at the flex. So just keep that in mind for everything you build tonight. Fading Mitch seems a lot easier tonight. That's true, but if you just see the Patriots stall out and you see Zeke getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust over and over again, it could just be a game where Zeke puts up 7.8 points and Devontae Parker puts up 9, and that's enough to make him get there in a 5-1. Or Juju, hopefully for me, if I'm playing that game script, Juju check downs his way to a big day. I think there's some ways to get there that don't involve Zeke, but I think people have a really hard time not playing Zeke tonight with that consolidation of the roll in with what the game script looks like. Week 14 Q&A in the future. I've got 5 on it. All right, Marcus Allen. I don't really do Q&A videos, but on Fridays, I do leave space open at the end tomorrow where I do the same process but for the main slate. I do leave a period open for Q&A, so I appreciate you super chatting in, but I don't know. I'm not like a Q&A guy. And we don't get enough Qs, frankly, but drop any questions you want, Marcus, if you do. I appreciate it. BB, are you calling me baby or are you saying best ball? Curious about which. All right, team stacks. Actually, let's look at the other positions too. There's nobody else, by the way, in 100% of lineup. Steelers coming up at 76%. So even, wow. So even with the Steelers at 6,600, they're coming up that often. So that is definitely a unique part of this slate as well. Oh, best ball. Okay. Thank you. You could have been calling me baby as well. You missed the earlier chats these guys were doing. But yes, any questions you want, Marcus, I'm here for you. Don't worry about it. So Steelers in 76% and flex, 16% at captain. So not in every lineup, but Steelers D is pretty close to it. And then Jalen Warren, 80% at flex, 16% at captain. So that is possible that he ends up at 100%. If that's the case, honestly, you could probably treat it where you could fade one of Zeke, Trubisky, and Warren, for the same things we talked about with fading one of Ezekiel Elliott and Trubisky, but Warren is close enough at 96%. That is a lot of Jalen Warren. We do know that Najee is still the apple of their eye, as much as it seems like that he shouldn't be. Kickers, let's see. Chris Boswell, 44%. Chad Ryland, 4%. So because you are getting a lot more Boswell, because you're unlikely to see 2 kickers make a lineup, though with this low of a total, I would be willing to play 2 kickers. And honestly, normally you want to play only 2 out of the 4 special team spots. So like normally you only want to play 2 out of the 2 kickers and 2 defenses. I think tonight you can play 3 and not feel bad about it, especially where the Steelers are priced. Like the Steelers have to have like an outlier outcome, I think, to make a lineup at this point. And that's, man, it's fucking crazy slate. And then Steelers D at 76%. Now let's look at the stacks, see what people are pushed towards more in this construct. So, all right, so 24 out of 24 lineups, or out of 25 lineups, excuse me, have at least 4 Steelers in it. So that right away tells you that if you are playing more Patriots, you're going to be unique inherently. Patriots 5-1s, Patriots 4-2s. Even 3-3s. What do we talk about for Monday? Treat the Bengals with a modicum of respect, like they deserve to be in the NFL. Treat the Patriots tonight with a modicum of respect, like they deserve to be in the NFL. That is going to be the way to get unique tonight. And you can still play your defense. Bailey Zappi can throw a pick 6. Like that can all happen. But I really do feel like for this build, it's obvious once again what it is. You're playing a little bit more pass game production. You're playing a little bit more of the Patriots just getting anything going on offense. I think those are the 2 things you're looking for here. And again, at captain, we're not seeing any receivers for the Steelers at all. So you can still play like the Steelers being the dominant team, but you just have to play the Patriots, just again, deserving your respect. Hand them a towel when you come on them. That level of respect, which I guarantee you won't hear another showdown video today, but that's basically what it is. Let's look at the Sims up next here. I already hand-built these lineups. I didn't hand-build the 10,000 lineups. I built the lineups in advance. Now we're going to simulate them out. Presume once again it is 30% to first. I think it actually might be, let me see this. So there was a little bit of a different price structure today. No, because it's 300K to first. So this is a rare one as well, where we're getting 25% of first place here. So let's do that. I guess actually 23%, but let's go with 25 for the sim's sake. So let's run the sim here. Of course, if you're not familiar with stochastic sims, what it's going to do is created those 10,000 lineups already. Now they compete against each other 40,000 times. That's how that goes. And also, if you enjoy this process, by the way, in the streams, it does look like we're going to have a discount for stochastic subs coming up soon as well. Actually, it might already be live. Let me just see. Let me check the Slack. Okay, well, they're figuring something out. But then we might have an affiliate deal coming up here with Stochastic. So keep your eyes peeled here on Splash Play. Of course, whenever that comes through, assuming it does come through, that'll be something I bring to you guys because obviously I love Stochastic tools. They did do a great job, but there's a lot of great tools out there. But if I have a deal for you guys with Stochastic, definitely be here to provide it. Sappy looks like that cum towel. He does. He's playing like it. I agree with that. All right. Top lineup here. Steelers D at captain. Jesus. Ezekiel Elliott, George Pickens, Jalen Warren, Mitch Trubisky, Tyquan Thornton. So that one is, I would say, likely to get duped on this particular slate. But it does show you that Steelers D at captain, the highest ROI lineup, does include that. Top 150 overall. Let me just give a thumb reaction to this now that I'm seeing it. Okay. Top 150 overall. Let's look at that. And of course, we'll look at some hand-picked captains from you guys. If you want me to look at specific players and the lineups to look with them, let me know. Drop it in the chat. Drop your Q&As. You don't have to call me baby. Just drop your questions there and I'll get to them in a moment. Steelers. So fucking A. 64% Steelers at the flex. So this is a lot. How much is coming up at captain? 14% at captain. This is a lot of Steelers defense. You really just have to play that the Steelers defense doesn't get there tonight. And obviously that is the most likely outcome given what the market totals are, given the Patriots have 12 implied points. But this is so much of an incredibly expensive defense cap of like, there's 6,600. This is so much money for a defense and they're coming up this often. And obviously that speaks to what the sim is pushing you towards, which is that on its surface, this is the best play of the slate. Steelers D is one of the best plays you will ever get at captain in a showdown slate. But this is batshit. I mean, it's just because it's a defense. I do think it's up to you, obviously, how you want to handle it. But if people are going to get to Steelers too easy, they're going to be forced by stuff like this to get to Steelers even more than they should. And all it takes is Bailey Zappi just deserving a modicum of respect. And that is it. So that's how I'll play it. But obviously up to you guys. Don't mind a pair of double Ds. How many of these are double Ds? I can't find that. Actually, I guess I could find it firsthand. Let's look at the exposures first, and I'll try to figure that out. Other high exposed players, Mitch Trubisky at the flex coming up 59% of the time. They do want you to get 10% more than the field is expected to have. Ezekiel Elliott coming up 52% of the time. They want you to get 4% more at the flex. Jalen Warren 47%. They want you to get 5% more. So all these guys up top, are going to be decently owned, but they want you to get more of them in the field of them for sure. Guys that want you to get less of. Les Freiermuth at flex, Les Devontae Parker at flex, kind of interesting there. Hunter Henry, Chad Ryland. So all these guys looking pretty bad overall. But man, what a weird bunch of games. All right, how many are double defenses? Let's find that out. Let's see. Lineup contains Steelers. For what it's worth, I do think that the Sims sometimes have a few more double defenses in there just because it is a unique lever than they probably should. But, that's obviously me saying that. Looks like there's 801 overall out of them that have that. Let's see how many have a positive ROI. And 360 of them have a positive ROI with two defenses out of 5,600 lineups. That's a lot of lineups that do not have double defenses. And then, I don't know. I think double defenses are certainly valid and probably more valid than usual given the low total. But I think if you're people are going to play that. So I still think you're going to win more money trying to play a little more of an offensive outcome. Some captains that I like, and again, drop your captain request in chat. We'll take a look in a moment here. Let's look at a Steelers D that I think would be unique. Let's try that. Because obviously I know there's going to be a fraction of people that want to play that way, a good portion probably that want to play that way. So let's see if we can find one that would fit the criteria a little better. 49.9 getting duped. 49.3. Both running backs. It's a 4-2 build. I think this is getting duped too. We gotta get lower in salary or something. Or you have to be not a 4-2. I think ideally a 3-3 will get unique enough. This one might be closer to unique at 49.3 salary. Steelers D, Bailey Zappi, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Warren, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mitch Trubisky. This one I think would be more unique at 46.9. Steelers, Boswell, Elliott, Warren, Mitch Trubisky, Patriots D. So double defenses here appearing. I think that's the one that I would go towards. Zappi captain. Okay. Bailey Zappi captain. 48.9. Zappi, Devontae Parker, Ezekiel Elliott, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mitch Trubisky, Pat Freiermuth. So you are getting the double stack. You're also getting Ezekiel Elliott, who could pick up some pass game yardage. I think this makes sense. I think this is a strong build to go to with Zappi at captain. This one, 49.9, a little bit less than that. I don't think it's unique enough. Zappi with Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Warren, Juju, Trubisky, Taekwon. This one is probably more duped than it would normally be at 47.3, but I think this is another good lineup. And you just have to hope that nobody plays Zappi at captain. But I think if somebody does play Zappi at captain, they're probably going to play lineups that look like this one and look like this one. This one at 43.5, that's a lot of money left on the table. So people still might not get here. Zappi, Zeke, Hunter Henry, Juju, Patriots, Steelers D. That's a high ROI for a lineup that's leaving that much salary on the table. So really, there is no amount of salary you can't leave on the table tonight. I think, honestly, what's the lowest salary that we can get to overall? 43K is the lowest tier. I think it might be possible to see some lineups around 40K that would still be valid, but you definitely can do a lot of that. Here we go. Our guy Tyler here. Everybody always wants to know where's Tyler as the leader of the Squirt Squad in the chat always. Here for the worst TNF analysis and hangs, because that's all there is. I mean, look, I would say the best worst TNF analysis is what you're getting here. But yes, it's going to be an ugly game. But again, I think it could be fun. We'll find out. What else? What other captains do we want to look at? Let's see. Freiermuth, anyone? We can look at Freiermuth. Not the most exciting captain. And again, the Stims did say not the highest ROI one either, but we'll look at it. Starts with Freiermuth captain 49.9. Anything 49.9, I'm not the most inclined to play. If you are getting all normal players in here, which you are, no $200 guys to kind of decrease the ownership product there. These are shitty captains with Freiermuth. I do not like this. You're using the whole salary with like, an obvious captain. I think is never going to be a great showdown build. Yeah, I really don't love any of these Freiermuth lineups. This one's getting closer, but it's still just a 4-2 favoring the Steelers, so I don't think it's going to be that unique, really. This one may be more unique with Ryland and Zeke. I think people won't play kicker and running back together too often. That could be it, but these Freiermuth builds are kind of shitty and really using up all the salary, which I don't think you want when you have an obvious captain. So not my favorite. Let's see. Who else can we look at? Pickens. Let's look at my guy, George Pickens. Obviously, he is a player that I support in every format, but I'm curious to see where he'll rank here. 50K salary, no, that is going to get duped, I would think. But Pickens, Trubisky, Najee, Pat Freiermuth, Steelers, Tyquan Thornton. Yeah, a 5-1. Maybe having Tyquan as the 1 makes you a little bit lower owned, but I still would think that gets duped. Maybe not. Maybe he'll just won't play enough Pickens at captain. But yeah, 50K salary. It's hard. Every time there's a 50K salary, you really do have to expect that's getting duped a lot because people really do cover the moon on like 50K salaries first and foremost. Am I not sorted by ROI? Oh, okay. My bad. Good call. All right. ROI. Pickens, Boswell, 49. Yeah, it's still expensive. 49K. Here we go. Here's one. Pickens, Boswell, Zeke, Trubisky, Steelers, Tyquan. Still a 5-1, but a more unique 5-1. We're not fading Zeke. We are fading Jalen Warren, so I think that helps. And Tyquan's going to be the least owned of the receivers, if I had to guess. The people do hate Juju, so maybe he would be. Here's one with Juju, so obviously I'm going to inherently like this more. Pickens, Parker, Zeke, Juju, Mitch, Steelers. This is probably chalkier. 2 dupes means like fucking 20 dupes in Stochastic because they only have the 10,000 lineups. So I think that, yeah, like this is probably more dupe than that would even seem. Okay, this one at 48.4. Pickens, Boswell, Devontae, Zeke, Juju, Trubisky. So we're hitting a bunch of levers here where we have the unique captain. We still have the good plays or the quote unquote good plays and Mitch, Ezekiel Elliott, not getting Steelers D in. So we're fading Steelers D. And then we also have 3 Patriots. So I think that's the kind of build I would push towards. Pass catcher at captain from the Steelers. Or, honestly, either side, but like I think in particular the Steelers. And then trying to get just a couple Patriots in, and you're still playing the chalky configuration of what this game is, which is a low-scoring game with the kicker obviously involved. But I think this kind of build makes sense, and you don't have to play Zappy with his low projection. But playing Zappy is valid. So I think a lot of ways to get different on the slate, man. It is going to be an interesting one. Oh, fucking spurious news. You're not a member here, and you're being this demanding. I'll show you the Pat one. I showed Pickens already, but I'll show you the fucking Freiermuth one. Redo it. Get at it. You can say please, maybe. He's fucking demanding. Freiermuth, Zeke, Mitch Trubisky, Najee, Pat, Steelers. Freiermuth, Zeke. Again, these are still pretty chalky ones up top, I would think. This one, 49-1. Freiermuth, Pickens, Juju, Mitch, Najee, Steelers. It's still 5-1. Like 5-1s are going to be real heavy from the Steelers side. 47.9. This one, here we go. Freiermuth, Zappy, Boswell, Hunter Henry, Warren, Mitch. You are still playing a good amount of the chalk. You're not playing Zeke, though, so you're getting the unique there. You are playing Zappy, which is going to get you more unique. And it really just one pass catch with Zappy. Like, you can play Zappy with no other Patriots in the lineup, and I think that's fine, too. Yeah, okay. All right. So keep that in mind. Say please. In this house, we have manners. All right, your 3 takeaways to build unique lineups. Of course, the thing we talk about at the end. 3 takeaways. Number 1 would be like, and again, I get why they're a good play. It's a 12-point implied total. Bailey Zappi looks like a disaster. Playing less Steelers D than the field. I hate to go against the Sims, especially for like the first takeaway to get unique. But that's an impossible amount of defense at an impossible salary, and it's coming up everywhere. And it also fits like how people want to play showdowns when it's based off the Vegas total. So like, I think you have to play less Steelers D. Sim be damned. I'm sorry, Sim, but Sim be damned. You got to play less Steelers D. Number 2 tip to get unique on this slate. Well, it would be, again, what we talked about earlier, trying to fade one of Trubisky or Zeke. They're the ones coming up in every lineup. They also fit, again, that game theory logic for what we've seen. If you are playing both guys, you have to find ways to get unique, leave more salary, find a more unique captain, get a guy under 10% projected ownership. Those are the ways you do that, but it does seem like the two obvious guys are going to be in every lineup are Trubisky and Zeke. So figure out creative ways to get around that, which we've talked about throughout the course of this video. Number 3, what do I really believe on this slate? What do I strongly believe? I think going to Juju. Oh, no, that's not it. Like, that's a player take, which I don't like to give as like the 3 takeaways if I can avoid it. Number 3 would be just trying to play a few more Patriots. We're seeing a lot of 5-1 Steelers. 24 out of 24 out of 25 lineups had at least 4 Steelers in it. So if you play less than 4 Steelers, you're getting off the beaten path. You're getting off of what people are going to be forced to, both by the math as well as like what the logic of how this game is going to go. So if you play that Patriots upset, if you play the Patriots being baseline competitive, if you play the Patriots just getting 3 guys in a lineup, you're going to be more unique. So that's got to be the 3rd takeaway. And obviously that does dovetail with like, hey, maybe play Juju, play whatever, but like, just play a few more Patriots and it feels comfortable because people just aren't going to do that tonight. I believe I don't want to watch this game. Well, I certainly understand that, but I do want you guys to watch Splash Play. So please subscribe down below. Splash Play, we finally crested past 3K subs. Now it's on to 4K, 5K. How high can we take this without me having to do shit like waiver wire videos and things to get clickbait? I don't know, but we're going to find out here. So subscribe down below. Hit the like button, of course, if you can. Leave a comment if you're watching after the fact. And don't be afraid to join either. $4.99 a month, and you get my exclusive data sheet that I put out on weekends. That includes all the data I talk about on here, as well as Vegas totals, all those things, some projections as well. But don't tell anybody about that. It's only a couple dozen of you. Who cares? But join down below, $4.99 a month. And of course, you also get custom emojis, VIP access here, and you don't have to say please when you request things from me on stream. But if you're not a member, you have to say please. That's just how it goes. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. Shout out to the Squirt Squad. Again, new names being added here every video, which I appreciate that. So get your name on this list. Of course, tomorrow, Friday, is the big reading of names I do to close out the week. So please do join before then and get your name on the list. I promise I will read your name aloud then. But again, support the show if you can do that. And go check out Probably as well. Going to be doing the Probably video for the best bets today coming up. Yesterday, really nice day. Plus, I think 2.8 units was the final number on that one. Thanks to hitting a long shot bet of the Blazers money line in the first half against the Warriors. So things are looking good with Probably data, but it would look better for you if you go to probly.com, PROBLY.com, and use the promo code SPLASH to save 50% on any package. And that includes the yearly ones as well. That means our biggest package is $500 a year. You could be getting it for under $250. That includes live in-game data, any future products we build, which is going to be including an Underdog Pick'em / a Prize Picks builder. That's next on our product roadmap. In addition to just the best bets data that over and over again will help you be profitable by using mathematically profitable data time and time again. That's what we do at Probably. So check it out. I'm very proud of what we've been doing over there, but we need to get more of you on board. So if you have the money, if you are in a legal betting state, check out probably.com/subscribe and use promo code SPLASH. Back with you guys tomorrow for the main slate. So we'll see you guys then. Enjoy your days. Good luck and happy birthday to my beloved Alex, who does not watch Splash Play, but hey, we gotta, I don't know, what if she did? Appreciate you guys. See you soon. Bye.